Hello and welcome to this session called the 4 Quick Questions to Cure Your Career Confusion. I'm Stephanie Kunar and I'm here with Luann McCurdy, my business partner. Welcome to our session. So I am a marketing professional and an academic. I'm a career coach and I'm a workshop facilitator. And I'm an award-winning college instructor. I've taught over 4,000 students. So I really understand and seen a lot of students graduate and pursue their careers. I'm a certified career educator and I'm the mentor of the year 1 year for Board of Trade. And I've written, which we want to talk about today a little bit, an Amazon bestseller called Backpack to Briefcase, A Student's Guide to a Meaningful Career Journey. And we're very excited to share with you some tips from the book to help with career confusion. Over to you, Lou.
Well, thanks, Stephanie, and hi, everybody. It's so good that you're here, and we're so pleased to be part of this conference. So I've had a number of careers, mostly in STEM. I was a Queen's graduate engineer. I worked in IT. I was a data analyst. I led some IT teams. And then I've also lived and worked in the US, in Canada, in Singapore, and France and India. I'm a proud Canadian and glad to be here, now living in Vancouver. I'm chair of the Status of Women and Human Rights at the University Women's Club in Vancouver. And I'm also a Gallup certified strength coach and a very proud co-founder with Stephanie of PeerSpectives Consulting. So we're interested in you. Are you a student that is identifying the right high school courses for next year? I think Logan's going to put a poll up for us. Are you applying to post-secondary programs in schools? Are you applying to graduate post-secondary programs in schools? Or is it something else? And Logan, we'll maybe need your help on the poll.
And I realized I was muted. Sorry. Folks are weighing in right now, about 55% participation. A few more votes are rolling in, so we'll give it another second, and then we'll post the results.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Last chance, folks, to weigh in on the poll, and then we will show the results. All right, they should be visible. It looks like the big majority, 74%, are applying to post-secondary programs.
Oh, excellent. That's good to know. That's a really important time of life. And we're with you on that. Let's look at the next slide. Oh, Stephanie, there we go. How are you feeling about this part of your life? Are you clear on your career direction? Are you still considering options? Or are you maybe just not sure of your career direction?
And the polls on the screen, again, we're getting close to about 2/3 here. We'll give it another moment.
Thanks, Logan.
All right, folks, get your votes in now. Last chance, and we'll close her off. All right. Final results should be visible now. It looks like 58% are still considering options, 26% are not sure of their career direction, and about 15% are clear on their direction.
Excellent. Great. Well, thanks so much. And because, you know, this can be a confusing time for students. Many students feel lost and confused, maybe not sure of the next steps. Many suffer from career confusion. They're at a point in the decision time where they're just feeling like, oh, what do I accept? What do I choose? Which option do I click on? And the point is here is they are not alone. This is part of growing up. This is part of what happens, but it is career confusion. Oh, you're on mute, Steph. There we go.
Am I okay now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, so it's hard to know what's going to be a good fit. And as Lou was saying, this is totally understandable. And we're so glad you're at this fair because you're going to be finding out lots of answers to some of your questions. But we're concerned that, many young people enroll in an educational program and they don't really know if the program is actually going to lead to a career that would be a good fit for them. And I mean, that's really what you're looking for, is like you want to be in a career that's a good fit, that's using your strengths, that's using your talents and allowing you to do something that you're really passionate about. And sometimes that happens because students haven't taken the time to kind of understand themselves. And we get this. This is not necessarily kind of taught in school. We don't always get this chance. Sometimes we do. Some programs in high school allow this, and some opportunities at career centers allow that. But you really have to kind of get that time to understand yourself, do some research, know the job market, so that you don't spend unnecessary time and dollars in the wrong program and trying to find your way. Now, many of us, have been in programs, and we've started in a university or college program, and we have realized, this is not the right fit for me. And, you do end up finding your way. This is not going to be something where you have to have it all figured out. And it does work that way. However, there are actually proven steps that can guide you to this career clarity sooner, so that you actually feel quite comfortable and confident that you are going to be pursuing the education and a career that's going to be a fit for you. So I'm actually, a career educator, and I've been teaching in post-secondary for over 20 years, and I have taught thousands of students, and I've seen what has worked and not worked. And when students seem to have an aha moment, or they get this sense of, yeah, now I know which career to pursue. So I've seen young people take proven steps, and they've begun a meaningful career journey. And I do want to mention the meaningful part, because we do know that meaning and being a part of something that you really feel is important, contributing your strengths, to make a difference in the world, is very important, more important than ever, because there's a lot of challenges that we're facing. So what are these proven steps, and what questions did these people ask themselves? So we'd like to kind of highlight that the book itself has got a couple of phases. It's got a discover phase, a build phase, and a launch phase. And it's during this discover phase that we're talking about understanding yourself. That's the key to help young people understand themselves so they can use their strengths to make a difference, and also to be financially secure, to be able to adult, right? To move out of your parents' home eventually, and to have a good wage and to be in a job that you really love. So we actually use a framework in this discover phase, and it's called the Ikigai Framework. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of the Ikigai Framework. You might have seen this before. So there's some questions there about, is it too late to change a program? We'll get to some of these questions later on. So what is the Ikigai Framework? Maybe you could put in the chat if you actually a Q&A have heard of it before. It's actually a Japanese word, ikigai, that roughly means your reason for being. And it's pronounced ikigai. And once ikigai is found, where the 4 circles that you can see on the screen intersect. And these are essentially the 4 questions that we want to introduce you to if you haven't heard of them. It's understanding what you love. And we're going to talk about that in a little more detail. It's understanding what you're good at, your strengths and your talents. And it's understanding from your perspective what the world needs and what you can be paid for. So all of those elements are very important. So these questions will help provide clarity and help understand and reflect on what you love, gain a sense of ownership over what you're good at. They'll give you a sense of how you are made up with your strengths and talents to work on certain challenges to make the world a better place. And it'll help you determine what jobs and skills will be in demand in the future, because you want to also look ahead to the future and be in jobs that have this, be trained for jobs that have the, the growth opportunity in the future. So we use this in our coaching practice for young people, just like yourselves. So in the future, we're gonna you have this kind of 4 questions. You just need some time for reflecting. Like setting some time aside, maybe a journal or maybe typing it on your laptop. And the whole idea is to stay curious and enjoy the discovery as well. Over to you, Lou.
Great. Thanks, Stephanie. So let's look at circle 1, what you love. And by what you love, we mean what are the types of activities that give you energy and really resonate with you so that you're like the most compelling person possible. There's some questions to ask yourself to reflect on what you love. And the clues to what you love can be found in your hobbies, your interests, your clubs, your sports participation, and even favorite school subjects. So we're going to ask you to put in the chat, what are some of your favorite hobbies? Share them in the chat. And as you're doing that, think about, what do you really love about it? What is about your hobby that energizes you? Or what is that moment while you're doing that hobby that makes you feel really alive? And I can't see the chat, but the goal of all this is to uncover what energizes you when you are participating in these hobbies. So for example, this young woman is in a garden, and it's like, oh, is she energized by the science of gardening? Or is it the community of gardeners that she's with? Or perhaps it's the purpose of the garden and what the garden's doing for the community. Or maybe it's the fact that it's a commercial garden and she just loves making money. So the point of a lot of these questions in the Discover phase of our program is to get in that space where you're being very self-reflective and being very, right, kind of unraveling the parts of you that are energized, because those are the things you want to do as you launch your career and your career journey. Oh, and you're on mute, Steph. There we go.
Yes, we can be at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there's clues here in your hobbies. I was just going to add, Luann, and we had a young woman that we were coaching, and she said with gardening, she just loved seeing the seeds blossom into little plants, and she loved this transition from one stage to another, and that really energized her. Sorry, Logan, back to Lou now.
Yeah, Logan's our program director here. So other clues to what you love. I was like, who do you follow on YouTube or on Instagram, and why? And when you go to a bookstore, what is your favorite section to visit? And if you don't go to a bookstore, I would recommend one day, if you have an hour or so, go to a bookstore or a library, something. I mean, bookstores are kind of fun because everything's new and shiny. And to find yourself, like, hey, what am I really attracted to? And if you're not into books, go to Home Depot. See the sections of technology or of tools that, or lighting or painting, and just start noticing, oh, this is me. This is what I really love to do. Over to you, Stephanie.
All right, so the next one is, the next question, the second question is what you are good at. And here what we're trying to, uncover here is that everyone has unique strengths and talents, things that they are naturally good at. And one way to uncover these unique qualities is actually to reflect on a past accomplishment when you really felt successful, when you really felt engaged, inspired, and in the flow. And this could be at work, it could be at school, it could be with your friends, a volunteer. And a lot of people, it takes a bit of a time to think about that, but it's something like you're like, you know what? When I worked on that event with the club and we raised money and we came up with some strategies, I was so excited. I really loved that so much. And then it's thinking like, what the heck was I doing when I was working on that club? Well, I was organizing, I was getting to talk to new people, I was connecting with others. And so it's through this kind of analysis of looking back to what you really do successfully and easily, and that gives you energy, that allows you to kind of look for patterns as well. So the question would be thinking back to a time when you did something you were really proud of. So maybe you stood up and you gave a talk, or maybe you worked for, Pedal Heads is out here in BC that helps young kids learn how to ride a bike for the first time. And you get this huge lift when you see this kid taking off. And they're riding their bike without anybody holding on to it. And looking again at what is it about that situation that energizes you? What makes it feel successful to you? It would be good. I don't know if people have these ideas coming, but please put them in there. If there's some ideas in there that you're like, this is what I really enjoyed. I really love this. Because the next thing you want to do is kind of think of another situation where you can look for patterns. So are there some skills that you used in both those situations? Are there any patterns? We have an example of a young person who had two examples. One was running a 10K, and the other one was running an event, like hosting an event. And when she looked at it, both required her to break down her training for the run into steps, and for the event, break it down into steps for running an event. She was very disciplined and responsible and liked to plan things out. That was a strength and something she really enjoyed doing. So those are the types of things that we do in our coaching to help you pull these types of things out. Another way to identify your talents and strengths is through assessments. Has anybody done a Myers-Briggs assessment, or there's on Career Cruising, it used to be called, but Cello, they have assessments, or My Blueprint sometimes. We use Clifton Strengths Assessment to help students and young people, and even our corporate clients, identify their top 5 strengths. These are the ways you naturally think and feel and behave. And we use this in our coaching practice to help a person dive deeper into those top 5 strengths. And we find that assessment quite a useful tool. Okay, over to you, Lou.
Great. Circle 3, what the world needs. So, the idea here is the world needs somebody like you. The world wants you to dream big. The world needs your talents. So consider, and I know everybody has one of these, what are some of the challenges that we are facing in the world today that really resonate with you? Like, what really bothers you that no one seems to be working on? Or maybe there's someone else working on it, but you feel like more needs to be done. We ask this question to students of pretty much all ages, and I'm always really impressed that everybody has a pulse on the world. Like they kind of know in their heart what they feel needs fixing in the world.
Maybe people could put that in the chat too, if there's something like, is it climate change? Is it the environment? Is it, the refugee crisis? It'd been interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even sometimes they see stuff, it's big scale like that, climate change, or it's just like, oh, I want to see more happiness and harmony in the world. It's all needed. And if you had, like, another thoughtful question on this is, if you had the power to make a significant change in the lives of people or of the planet, what would you change?
Mm-hmm. This could be locally too. It might be globally. It might be in your own neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you can.
I was just going to say, Caitlin's put something in there, in poverty and disease, discrimination. There's a few big issues. Climate crisis coming up, Luann.
Good. The world certainly needs you for that. I'm all about water and clean water. I'm so passionate about that. That's kind of one of my many causes. And how I kind of got to that was through this. In our coaching practice, we share the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, which I'm sure a lot of you have already seen these, but not everybody. And we share these to provide inspiration and further discussion, because they've done a nice job of grouping different goals and ideas. And I think one thing that comes out of this is, from this, you can find different careers that you can apply to help solving these.
Yes, and the other thing is, there are already many, many organizations and companies even that are working on these goals. So it's not like you have to take this on yourself, solving world poverty. There are organizations and associations. And so through research, through LinkedIn, or even on Google, you can find, if you just put in, organizations working on reducing poverty, you will find the associations or the companies. And so this gives you insight into where the jobs might be. There's people already working on these things, and that can provide you with some insight on what other careers are in that area. So the next one is what you can be paid for. And what we mean here is that we want everybody to be in a financially independent position with their job. You might have heard, follow your passion and the money will follow, right? And we feel like we do want you to follow your passion, something that you are really jazzed about or excited about, but we also want you to do the research to ensure that you will be able to support yourself with that career. And a lot of passions do turn into real careers. If you can, if you're a musician, you can make a career out of it. If you make pottery, and love making pottery, you can make a career out of it. But you need to make sure that there is that opportunity, right? So how do you kind of get the next steps on this? So we want you to be financially independent. And one of the keys is to understand the future labor market. Okay, so put on your glasses where you're going to be looking into the future. And some of you already do that. And it's knowing the jobs and skills that will be in demand that are of interest to you. So, there are a lot of skills, critical thinking, digital literacy. We need to all be comfortable with digital, intercultural competencies. That's something that employers have already projected. We will need more employees having these skills, being able to relate to different cultures. So there are ways to figure out what is going to be in demand. You can start by asking yourself, are there some trends or industries that you are interested in that you're like, that is very interesting? Of course, maybe you can add these to the chat too. There's, artificial intelligence and machine learning, or maybe there's some tech that you're interested in, Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's food trends, right? I asked my students how many people are drinking kombucha or eating kale. These were trends that have kind of picked up. Do you see any trends or industries that you're interested in? The next thing there is, do you know any companies in that industry, right? And you can, again, use Google to find that out, or online. What jobs are in that field? And the key question is, what education is required? Because that is kind of like the backward design. You're kind of saying, well, what industries or trends do I want to be a part of? And then what education do you need to be a part of that industry or trend? So where can you get this type of information? Well, we know Google is our friend, right? But there's other places. So we're going to introduce you to 3 strategies. It's doing online research, which you guys are already good at, but some other couple tips. Conducting informational interviews, like to explain what that is, and also connecting to industry associations, or if you're in high school, even clubs. What we really are passionate about is an exploration mindset. The career confusion, it's getting some clarity, but you are on a journey, and this is an exploration, and you can pivot, and you can take a course and decide, you know what, I thought I was interested in that and I'm not. That's just as important information. Or take a course and say, wow, I never even knew this. I actually found out about marketing through one course in 3rd year university in psychology, in one chapter in the book on consumer behavior. And I was like, what is this? And this was how I found out about things. So it's an exploration mindset. So doing online research here in BC, we have Work BC, and in other provinces, there's wonderful research online that can tell you about what are the high demand occupations. There's information and videos on the different jobs, a day in the life, an event planner, or an accounting clerk, or an architect. Short videos, entertaining. There's also other facts, what's the average salary? What's the forecasted employment rate for this career? Are there going to be job openings for you, right? Because you're going to be graduating in a few years from now. The next thing we wanted to share with you is this idea of conducting informational interviews. Has anybody done one of these? You might have been encouraged to already do this by job shadowing in grade 10 and 11. So an informational interview is speaking to somebody that already works in that career or job or industry that you're interested in. And this might be your family. This might be your friends. This might be friends or family of your friends, right? It could be your friend's uncle works in artificial intelligence or works in ocean research. So you don't want to put a lot of pressure on this. This is really just kind of asking questions, right? How did you become interested in this career? What advice would you give someone interested? Maybe they could tell you what education you need or what path to take. What's your typical day look like? Is there someone else you think I should speak to? We highly recommend that you get another name. Maybe they say, you know what, you should speak to so-and-so. They would really be able to tell you a little bit more. This idea of trying to get another name allows you to be building your network and finding out more about this industry, which is going to help when you're looking for a job in that area. So we have a little exercise in the book where you would, pick the careers that you're of interest to you and write down the name of a family friend, or start asking around, do you know anybody? Ask your parents, teachers, and their contact info, and try and set a plan where you're actually going to reach out and connect to these people. The last key is this concept of connecting to industry associations. So I think that's over to Lou.
Yeah. So there are industry associations for almost any industry you're interested in. And they are international, they're national associations, provincial associations, citywide associations, like even when I think about it, even neighborhood associations. And part of your research is going to be involved in looking at some of those associations. They could be like a board of trade, could be a chamber of commerce. We'll give you some examples in this presentation, but a marketing association, accounting, and often student membership is an option. It could be free or low cost. You might do your research and say, to join this association is hundreds of dollars. But if you dig down a little deeper, you may find a free event. Now, I want to set that aside, like associations is one thing, but not to forget, there could be some things in your own school. In high school and post-secondary, there's interest groups and clubs that are like-minded people kind of interested in the same kind of thing, doing a club, and even that club can do something together and reach out to industry. So how do you find associations? Well, on the next slide, we're going to show you a list, and maybe get it in the chat, or you can just Google Canadian Professional Organizations. Now, this is not the nicest looking website, but what you'll find is a really, really, really long list of professional associations, and you'll be able to click and do your own research. So, it's kind of fun, I think, to be, we all like Instagram and Netflix and all of that, but, take an hour every once in a while, make it a habit to kind of look at different associations and think, does that excite me? Is that the kind of thing I'd like to investigate?
Yes, we had one coaching client, and she was quite interested in the field of speech pathology. And when we looked that up, it was quite interesting for her. Lots of good information there. I'll go to the next slide, Lou, right?
Yeah, please. So here's an example. This is the BC, so the Provincial Organization of the American Marketing Association, for people that are interested in marketing. And they have quite a nice website, but they show you different ways that you can get involved. And on the next slide, there are some examples. You can, there are many ways. It says you can become a member, you can sponsor an event, so don't worry about that right now, but you can volunteer with them. Or you can be part of a collegiate chapter, or even just attend a webinar or event. It's just kind of a nice light touch to get involved in the industry and see if these are your people.
Mm-hmm. Other thing that's free and easy to do on most of these is to sign up for their newsletter. So their newsletter comes to you right in the inbox. It might have jobs actually, so you can read about the job, you can see salaries. It's the best practices, and industry experts, might have blog articles in the newsletter. And you just start having it wave over you, this information, and you're like, is it like interesting to you, or you're like, is that what it's about? I'm not really interested.
And so, like any good practice, any good habit, write down your plan, write down the name of the association, and just check it off. Did I attend an event? Did I join as a member? Can I volunteer? Did I sign up for the newsletter? And if you need an accountability partner in this, then find somebody or share the results, because, there's pretty amazing out there what's available for, even for learning, and even just to see what's available in the world. It's quite amazing.
I'd like to add too that industry associations and clubs, for the industry associations, they are so interested and supportive of students, because you know why? You're a potential future member of this association, and they often have very many student programs or mentorship programs. So there's real opportunities with industry associations. They sometimes have student committees, all types of things. So, as Lou was saying, an accountability partner is good, but even if you want, sign up with a friend, right? It's always easier to kind of, maybe in real life, if you want to go to an event, go with a friend. But these are the secret ways to be building your network and building your experience while you're studying and figuring out your Ikigai. It's all part of it. It's not like you're going to have your Ikigai figured out in grade 12 and that's it. this is going to change over time. We're still updating our Ikigai, aren't we, Lou? We're still finding out new things and changing and adapting because your environment changes. So these are just kind of questions to stimulate you, to cut you thinking before you start picking your programs, right? That's really what we're looking to do. So these are the 4 questions. You know, our headline was 4 questions to cure your career confusion. We guarantee this will help by doing this discovery phase and thinking about it and trying to kind of coalesce or merge or have that intersection of all of these things, of what you love, you know, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And like we said, it's kind of like a guide or a touchstone, you know, when you're making decisions about high school courses, applying to post-secondary programs, applying to graduate programs even. And you know what, when you've applied and then you have, if you might have a couple of offers, you go back to your Ikigai and you look at that. And does this school meet what I'm looking for? Does this program better fit with what I'm looking for, right? So it's a real tool that I wish I had had when I was, you know, going through this. So our mission is to help with career clarity. That's our goal. Today we've shared some of the proven steps and we have them captured in our book. You know, it only came out in August, you guys, and it's an Amazon bestseller. It's really doing well in different categories, job markets and advice. We have a workbook. It's a downloadable PDF. And we also have an online 4-week course that takes you through this discover phase with us. If you like our approach and you want to consider, you know, purchasing the book or even enrolling in our course, it's a good thing to do it prior to some of these decisions. By the way, we do love School Finder and it's in the book. You know, we refer to School Finder as a good tool. So the book includes activities to discover your Ikigai, tips to build your experience network and your digital profile, and job search strategies as well. It includes resume writing and it tips on, you know, how to negotiate an offer and how to do interviews, all about how to launch and get onto your meaningful career journey. So we always like to say, let's get started. And then if you think you're motivated and you can do, and the book is written for you to do it on your own. All the activities are in the book. If you want more mentorship, more guidance, more support, we do offer this 4-week course. It's newly developed and we've had some participants go through it. Very great results. And it's a really unique mobile-friendly platform. It's easy to use, lots of engaging activities around your strengths. So we do focus on using the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which is included in our bundle. We also offer 4 private one-on-one coaching sessions, and they're an hour each, and it goes over the 4 weeks, either with Luann and I. And it's all designed to help you gain that, you know, career clarity and support your decision-making and increase your confidence. So we do have a promotion, and Logan, as you know, it's the runner-up who doesn't get the $3,500 can actually win this entire program. There's going to be one winner from the group. If you're not the winner and you think you might be interested in this program, we do have a conference promo discount code to take $300 off of the price. And more information at backpacktobriefcase.ca. And we also would like to, you know, offer, and this is something that is new that we're offering here, is a 30-minute session. There's a lot of information today. Maybe you're not sure if you need a course, or maybe you just need one coaching session. Connect with us on our Calendly link here, and you can book an appointment. Our availability is there, and we are just wanting to get this information out. We really think that, and we've seen that it helps people. So the other place, if you're on LinkedIn, some of you might already be on LinkedIn, please connect with us there, or you can email us at our email addresses there, which are also at our virtual booth. So yeah, so we're open to Q&A. We want to thank you for your chat comments here. Logan, how would you like to approach it? Do you want to pull out some ones that you've seen a pattern?
Sure. Yeah, we can start pretty early with some of the common threads. Here's one from Anonymous from about half an hour ago. I'm not confused. I just want to find a way to relay my career aspirations to my parents since my parent is not on board.
That's a good question. Well, we actually have some parents come participate in the online course with us. I think a little bit of it is sharing your passions, right? And opening that dialogue. We actually have a parent workshop tomorrow on these 4 career questions, because we really believe that the parents can facilitate this discussion for helping the young person uncover it. But you know what happens is their eyes are opened. Their eyes are open and they're like, yeah, I've known you your whole life. And you know what? That does seem to sound like you, right? I don't know if you want to add to that, Luann.
Sure. Yeah. So send them to our parent presentation, which is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Or they can chat with us too. But, they have to learn who you are. And part of their job is to let go of you. And that's hard sometimes. The other thing we find is when students do the Clifton Strengths Assessment and some things come out of that, and the parent gets to see that, or the parent has some coaching themselves around that, the parent goes, oh, that's their superpower. Now I see them differently. And it's very helpful to the parents. So just, I'm just saying that parents are confused too. They're not perfect.
Yes, and I do think the parents are obviously paying for the education, right? And I think some of the research, if you do the research and you show them the labor market demands and you show some of the information on that career, and they just want to know, they want you to be happy. They want you to be in a career where you're thriving and growing. And so it is key to be articulating what it is that gives you energy. And how that will match with the career that you have some interest in. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Another common thread we've seen here expressed by Anonymous and others. I'm just trying to decide between an unstable dream job and a stable meh job.
Meh? Well, how do you think stable meh is going to come out? It's funny, a lot of our clients are stable meh job people in their mid-20s. They've done the thing and they're tried it out and they're kind of okay, but not fully impassioned. So we coach them as well. We take them through our program and we help them maybe redirect their job a little bit or see what they can do. It is a journey. There's no judgment really on what happens, but I think if you can do enough discovery so that you feel like you're making your decision and you're on your path, you won't mind if there are twists and turns in your career journey.
Mm-hmm. And and sometimes you can do both. A lot of entrepreneurs have a full-time job and they're building their business, and they may not transition to paying themselves until their business is built up. So the stable meh job might pay the bills as long as you have an opportunity to feel fulfilled in maybe some other contract work or some other elements of that job. So, there's a lot of ways to slice and dice it, but the key is, as Lou's saying, is for your own mental health and your own well-being is, you don't want that to be draining your batteries, right? If it's too much, it might be draining your energy, and then that won't be good long-term.
Just a follow-up corollary to that. Is it okay to pick an option because you can't pick something else, especially if it's going to be a long and grueling path, even if you're not entirely passionate?
So is it picking the option that's going to be long and grueling?
Yeah, I think the question, if I'm interpreting this question correctly, is it okay to, to take the mad job, basically, right?
Sure. You can have, it's called a vocation, right? A job that the world needs that you can get paid for. That's a vocation. So maybe you do that. And like Stephanie says, on the side, you have your passion project. It's okay.
And there's, there's other ways that we can brainstorm, and we do this with our mid-career clients who don't want to leave the company they're at. But there's ways to say, well, is there another way to bring your strengths to the team? Or is there a way to have a lateral move in the career? Or, so you might have a vision of sustainability, but you're in a company and you're the accountant. But maybe you can be on the sustainability team or on a committee or something like that, or you recognize as an accountant, you're moving the dial on sustainability. So it can be, you can be in a career that is challenging to get through, I can hear you saying, but end up in a position in a company or organization that's moving the world ahead. And that will provide some sense of meaning and satisfaction.
Yeah.
Another threat I've seen a couple of times exemplified here, I have autoimmune disease or disability and difficulty finding a career that'd be a good fit in the long term. Do you have any advice for those with people with disabilities to figure out what career would be sort of ideal for them?
Well, we've had a reset completely with the pandemic, right? In terms of having more companies open to having people working from home. So I don't think nobody wants to go back to full time. They've seen the benefits of shorter, no commute from upstairs to the Zoom screen. People want to blend. So I think there's been a transition, and there's much more openness to part-time work, hybrid, working from home, and other remote work. So that, for the autoimmune, if that means you maybe want to limit being with people in an environment, there's careers where you would, I don't know if that's the key concern there, but there are careers that could be a fit that allow you to work now because of this shift that's just happened, I would say.
That's a really good point. Like, that's one of the brighter sides of the pandemic. And I think a lot of this, just in general, and this is not about autoimmune or anything, is like the more you understand the way you work best, the more you can articulate it so people understand, and the more you can start looking for, filtering yourself, jobs that meet your criteria. So like, you may end up getting a job interview for a job, and if you can start asking and talking about the way you work best, and you can say, is this what the job's all about? And they say no, then you just, it's a good fit, and you can walk away with your head held high and wait and find the next job that works for you.
Thanks. We're running out of time. We'll just do a couple more while we have a few
These
moments.
are fun. These are great, by the way. Very thoughtful crowd.
Yeah, there's lots of good questions in here still. One is sort of related to your parents' talk earlier. Tips on overcoming career indoctrination. It's hard to see myself doing other jobs besides the one that my parents insist that I go into. And as a corollary there, I think my problem is I'm not aware of all the options that there are to choose from. So how do I know what jobs are out there besides a doctor?
Well, remember the 3 key strategies? It's kind of like, you got to do some research. And it's true. I saw a study, and it's like most young people know 10 jobs, right? Doctor, lawyer, nurse, teacher, right? And there's so many different jobs. So I think it's a couple of things in that question there. It's figuring out and exploring and coming back to your parents with the research. Kind of says, this is a huge field, AI or virtual reality, or, something that you think is really, vegan leather. I don't know. There's so many interesting fields right now. And maybe as well, they don't know about that either. The second thing is it's back to what Luann was saying, is it's about articulating what actually you are good at and what this career that maybe they're suggesting requires. Actually, in my book, I do talk about my dad wanted me to be a doctor. and that wasn't a fit for me. And I went into the first year sciences intent to please my dad to be a doctor, and I wasn't enjoying the calculus and the physics, and I wasn't doing well in it. So I kind of needed to recognize in myself that these aren't the subjects that I'm good at. Like, I was good at them in high school, but something happened in university and it was a lot tougher. And so, I coached a parent who really wanted his daughter to be a pharmacist, just like his wife was. And he said, this is a great career, but she was not strong in these classes, this chemistry and biology, and it was not going to be successful for her. So I asked him, I said, well, do you want her to have a good career? Yes. You want her to be happy, and kind of trying to shift to that being the goal, rather than, that is a good career, but not everybody is suited for that career. So I'm not sure if there's any tidbits there to help you.
One for the vegan leather mention. I'm wearing vegan leather shoes right now myself.
We could tell, Logan. We knew it.
There's a couple more here. Some about specialized education, careers that require, certain credentials, special education, and especially for those who may already have completed university but are looking at one of these careers. Any advice for these folks?
Well, I know Stephanie will add to it. I'll start it and let Stephanie finish. But, lifelong learning is a part of success. It's just the way it is. That's the way of our world right now. But there will be some methods for you to look ahead, find the dream job you're after, and kind of mapping your skill set versus what you need. And then slowly kind of ticking off the courses or credentials that you're looking to find and mapping the steps. That's kind of the essence of what I wanted to say.
And I think if you are realizing that you finished your university and then you need specialized education, that's quite common. There's a lot of people who have a university degree and then go get a college degree or something specific. There's a school here, Red Academy in BC here, that focuses on digital marketing. And they told me their target is the UBC business graduate students, because they're not high school students that go to that program. They are business students that want to have very sharp digital and web development skills. So it's quite common, and no learning is lost. I'm sure there's going to be things that you can bring from the university education that you've had. So I agree with Lou. It's a lifelong learning, and it all stacks up. I don't think it's going to just make you even more interesting, right?
That's great, thanks. In our last couple of minutes, we've got a few more. Here's a bit of a sort of fun, more frivolous one. What do you think about BuzzFeed quizzes and surveys and stuff to help with career confusion?
I think they're confusing. Some of them are fine and some are not, but do realize anything free that's like that in terms of a quiz, sometimes there's a lot behind the scenes technically that's capturing some of your data. And there used to be something around an API app that was just even collecting your friends' data just based on these free quizzes. So, buyer beware.
Yeah, and I think for me, just in general, maybe it's not, besides the privacy challenges there, but I think information, I'm big on input, and you never know what's going to spark it, right? You never know when it suggests, actually I had one that suggests I should go into the military. So I don't know what I answered that said that, but maybe I would have liked that. But, sometimes you go, the military? I don't know. But sometimes it might give you a suggestion. I looked at my grade 10 assessments through the high school, and it said author. I don't know if I told you this, Luann. It said author. And I just recently wrote my book. I had never thought of being an author this whole time. But then when I dug this out, because, I like the assessments. So who knows, if you get, it might spark something. It might generate an idea that you've never thought of before. So, but the strengths assessment that we use is based on 30 years of data. It's 26 million people have taken the assessment. It's extremely rigorous. It has a lot of data science and statistics analysis and, you know, validity and reliability behind it. So I think, you know, for us, we use that one.
Makes sense to me. Thank you. Two more questions here in the last couple of minutes. One from Michaela. How do I stay focused on a single career when there are so many interesting courses?
You must have learner as a strength. That's what I'm saying. How do you stay focused on a single career? Well, how do you stay focused on anything? I don't know. That's a really good focus question.
Yeah. I don't know if you have to. I think the whole idea is that you could shift and pivot and jibe, right? This is the time when you can do that. Mm-hmm. And you might, I talk about in the book, planned happenstance. Happenstance is something that happens by chance. Planned happenstance is putting yourself out there and seeing what happens. And sometimes it's taking another course, like you said, and going, well, I don't know, this is really interesting. I would say be open to that. I'd be open and follow your intuition and your gut feel and that excitement. You know, really this Ikigai, we kind of talk about it as a touchstone, but to me, it's almost like a gut check. I don't know if everybody has a good gut check or a good feel, but it's tuning in and saying, well, you know, I had this idea of that, but I don't know if does that make you seem flighty or wishy-washy? I'm not sure. I think I talk to my students about a hybrid career too. I have students that have done a degree in this and they come to Canada and they're taking a business degree. They have a civil engineering, lawyers, doctors, and they're taking business. I go, you guys, a blend of these two things? Oh my God, that's so unique and different. So I don't know. I would say follow your interests.
That's great. Thanks very much. Any sort of final thoughts before we wrap up for the day?
I mean, I just want to thank everybody for your participation. And this is our first time at this conference, and Logan was so kind to invite us. And, you know, we really have some good experience and some good proven steps and content that we want to share. So reach out to us. You know, we're a small company and we're still, you know, researching and wanting to hear from you, our students that are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we learn from our students and clients, and we love putting it all together and packaging it so that everyone can feel good about themselves and their career.
So good luck and keep that exploration mindset, you know, so you don't feel like, you know, you're having to pick and just make a decision. You can always pivot and always change.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Really appreciate your time here and everybody for tuning in. Yeah, well, we'll see you both tomorrow for the parent session and another round of students.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Great night.
Thanks for the claps.